A good day to you all. Greetings, dear brothers and sisters in Christ. My name is Csongor Kelemen, and I welcome you for the second installment of our sit down with Brother Johannes Oost. Last week we talked about his work here at the Boer Marine, and this week, as promised, we will talk about his upbringing, the manner in which God, through Jesus Christ, has ministered to him, in which he has gotten to know his Lord and Savior. So we will talk about his upbringing and his faith journey. So what can you tell about the environment in which you have grown up here in Urk?
Well, first of all, Urk is a Christian town. So I was growing up in a loving family with one brother, one sister. Traditional. My mother, she stayed at home to take care of us, and my father, he worked. He was a carpenter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was always love in our family. It was always good, and there was a lot of room for Christians. So I have been raised as Christian from the day I was born.
Yeah. Yes. Well, as you can see behind us, there are some pictures of Urk and the harbor. Mm-hmm. What is also typical for Urk that there are many churches, also many congregations. Yep. Is that something that you have experienced in your youth, that faith and talk about God and the gospel is everywhere here in Urk?
Yep. Yeah, it is everywhere. Everywhere you can talk about it. It's I think it's easy to be a Christian here. In Urk, because you see it everywhere. I can imagine there are countries or regions in the world where it's really hard to be a Christian. Yeah. And I'm very lucky in that part that I've been raised here.
So that's definitely something positive. Do you think that there are also some negatives or some downsides in growing up as a Christian in a town or a village that has an outspoken Christian identity? Do you think that there can be something negative in that?
I wouldn't really say it's a downside or negative, but the outside world likes to look at Urk a lot, let me put it that way. So when you come from Urk, people are biased. They immediately say, oh, you're Christian, so you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Even they are not Christians themselves, they already know what you are able not to do or able to do. Yes. And in your youth, younger years, that is sometimes annoying, to say at least, that happens.
Yeah. So there are certain expectations that people have from you if they know that you are a Christian. Do you think that these expectations are warranted, that they are rightful, or?
That's a good question. I think yes. But again, if you are more adult, you will see that, and then you also don't have any issues with it. As a Christian, you should try to live the best for the rest of humanity, for your people surrounding you. So yes, you should try your best. Should it be under a magnifying glass? I don't think so, because everyone in this world should try their best. Yeah.
Yes, but as Jesus himself said, you should be the light to the world.
Exactly.
Although that sometimes can be challenging, because how can you be the light in the world that doesn't want to see this light, and also how can you be the light in the world when there is a certain magnifying glass that you speak of, so which means that people have certain expectations of us as Christians.
Exactly, and you don't want to show it that you are better than them, because we are not. We are all equal.
No, that is actually something that Jesus also in his many discussions with the Pharisees says. It's the good works are not something to show, but the good works are things that follow from your faith. So it's not something that you put up as a mask to show to people, but you let the light of Christ shine through you to other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you think your upbringing influenced your faith, or how did your faith evolve or grow? What can you tell us about that?
Again, I've been raised as a Christian, so as a child, a young child, yeah, you always believe in it. Of course, when in your teenage years, well, I'm not saying of course, but in your teenage years you're having a little bit like, okay, I want to have maybe do different things or maybe go somewhere else. You're trying to explore the world on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I always knew that Jesus was with me, but yeah, there are always things that you're like, okay, but I don't want to go left, even though that's the right path to take. You go to the right, or vice versa. But then later, when you go to an adult, you see it in your surroundings, and you check back also on your youth. You can see it was always there, and it's growing.
You said it is growing. Have you experienced the growth of your faith as something that grows steadily, or it goes like it fluctuates? So did you have any crises in your faith?
I don't think there was any crisis, but of course, again, it goes ups and downs. Especially the whole, how you call it, the church part around it.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the church, yeah, you also want to do maybe something else on a Sunday when you're a teenager. So you're like, okay, I believe, but I don't need the church for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always need to go to the church by my parents. I was raised like that. You go different things. You have friends who do not believe, of course, who are not Christian. So you do different things. You go on holidays, yeah, things like that. But then it goes a little bit. You drop it, but like I said, I've always had that He was with me. And then when you grow older, yeah, then your faith goes up again.
Yeah, that's interesting. What you say, that as a teenager. It's also something that I encounter also here in Urk, that people say, well, you have the church, you have the institution of the church, but we actually don't need the church to have faith or to believe. There's something rings true in that. Although I think it's better to view the church not as something that you go to as an institution that gives you, that sells you a product, that sells you faith in quotation marks, but to see the church as the living organism of Christ, of which you are part. So you don't go to church; you are the church. And what does this knowledge do with your faith? You talked a bit about how your faith has evolved in your youth, and how is it now, and how is your connection with the church as a whole now in your adult years?
These days I'm elder in the church as well. So I've been asked by the church to do more for the church and more for the community surrounding it. And that has also helped me grow and develop even my own faith, because you see people who are testimonying their faith, and it's very nice to see, because you will literally see the miracles that are happening in the world. There are also a lot of, how you call it, not so happy stories, of course. People are, but even then, during most of these crises, you see that they find
solace, and they find
exactly,
peace
in their faith. Yeah, and that's good to see, and that then you can only think by yourself, Jesus exists. It's there. You can see it. It's there.
Yes. So that's really powerful. What you say, that through taking on a more responsible role, even in the church as an elder, you're not only talking about what is my responsibility to the church and what I need to do for the church, but also how this role influences your own personal growth.
Yeah.
So you say that these conversations with you, which you have with church members, well, really helps the development of your faith. Yeah. And what do you consider now a normal routine for your faith life? What are fixed points within the week or within the day that you that you look for or search for God or time with Him?
Yeah, it's. I think here at Urk, it's a little bit typical. Like I said, how you were raised a little bit, you do the same things. You take it over. So it's like praying when you're having dinner or lunch, saying grace, of course, and thanks for it. Reading out the Bible, raising your children the same. You go to the church. You go to meetings, you have maybe small discussions also with friends or family about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it's being. That's a regular things that's usually happening in a week.
Yes. Well, you talked a little bit about children. There is, and as you are elder, you are probably familiar with the words of the Apostle Paul when he says to Timothy, these are some of the requirements for being an elder or an overseer of the congregation. He must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him, and he must do so in a manner worthy of full respect. That is 1 Timothy 3, verse 4. Mm-hmm. How do these words speak to you? How do you how do you work in your relation to your family and in your position as head of the family towards your wife and children?
Love. That's the biggest word of it. Be patient, be gentle, but also be loving. Of course, children can be children. They can do things that you don't like, even when you're a child yourself, of course. But always ask them, what's going on. Go into with them in discussions. Talk it out with them. Yeah. Never become angry. Try to leave that. Raise your voice. Try to remain loving and calm. That's not always possible. I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately, with us. But then even talk it out. Even with small children, they understand it already. Yeah. And if you keep on loving, like it's showing what Jesus also showed us how to love, also not only to children but to other people next to you, things will work out.
That would have been my last question for today, but you kind of already answered it. You said Jesus shows us what love is, or Jesus shows us God's love. How can you describe, if I ask you the question, who is Jesus for you? What answer would you give?
My master. That would be the correct word. And these days they would say mentor, teacher, maybe. But I prefer the word master because I think that's more respect. Everything that he teaches you, you can use it for yourself, but also for your surroundings. Even people that unfortunately are not Christian or do not have faith, but see maybe Jesus as an historical figure. Yeah. Even they would say, if you look at how he is working with the people around him, never judging, and try to live like that. Yeah, that's fantastic. If you try to do that every day, if everyone on the planet would do that every day, we would have a beautiful planet.
Johannes, you just told something about how to be a father and a husband and head of your family, and the main word you used was love. Yep. You have also responsible tasks here within the Boer Marine, within your company. Yep. So you are also responsible for people working under you. But I think this word love needs to shine also in your working environment as well, because in my mind the world oftentimes views people in higher positions of power. The world views these people in terms of power. Yep. But the word of God teaches us that the higher the position you have, the more love you need to show. So yep. The world thinks in power, but the word thinks in servitude, in kindness and in loving servitude towards others.
Yep. I think the word responsible, what you just said as well, is one of also the key words besides the love part. because when the earth was created, God gave us already a responsibility to serve the world, so to speak, responsible for animals, and that is up to today. That's still it. You are responsible for your children, if you have them. You are responsible for every person you encounter in your life. In my opinion, how you deal with them. Are you going to be, are you going to be loving with them or not? And same as work, you are responsible for your colleagues and the people here at work and what they do. They count on you, and you need to be there for them. And vice versa, they can help you out as well. Because at the end, if a company fails, there's no money. When there's no money, there's no food.
On this note, I would like to end this part of our discussion. And next time we will talk about exactly what you just finished with, how you are responsible for people working for your company, and well, how you can show your faith also being an important member of this business. So, dear viewers, if you check in next time, next week, we will also sit here with Johannes Oost, and we talk about how he LABORA, how he works. I wish you all a pleasant day and be blessed. God bless you.